Okay, so I'm Deanna. I am going to be talking about environmental change, gun violence, and politics and how they relate to each other. The main reason behind my choice of topics is that they're public health issues that I feel like are actively harming the general public. For evidence, lobbying within the federal government prevents policy from being enacted to protect the public from harmful effects of environmental change and gun control. According to the CDC website, environmental change contributes to air pollution, food security, wildfires, and temperature and precipitation. There's supposed to be another word there, but anyways, which are all harmful to humans. On the topic of gun violence, the CDC website states there were over 46,000 gun-related deaths in 2023. Our federal government allows companies and organizations like the American Petroleum and the NRA to prevent protective policy from being passed. Okay, so here are my questions. My first one is, the Paris Climate Agreement was created in 2015 to try to limit global warming by holding the participating countries accountable for their emission levels. What are your thoughts about the Trump administration pulling the US out of that agreement twice? We were in it and then he pulled us out, and then we got back in it and he pulled us out again.
Um, I would say that I don't think that him pulling us out was really a good idea. I feel like that we need them to take accountability for what they have in their pollution that they are doing. And for then with Trump pulling us out, we don't know who's doing it now. We're just like all in one. So
Yeah,
nobody's getting the accountability like they need to.
right. Yeah, it is pretty crazy because I'm pretty sure that most countries in the world are a part of this agreement. And I just thought it was so crazy that I mean, I remember it was one of the first things when Trump got into office that they did. And I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me because that's important. Like, I think that, I don't know, it's scary. It's scary to me that that was even allowed to be done. But yeah, I agree. We need to be able to know who's, and honestly, I didn't do any research on how much emissions we put out personally. I probably should have done that, but I can imagine that it's a lot. So
Yeah.
not having that data is not good. Okay, so my next question. What concerns you most in terms of gun violence and climate change? So like what concerns you most about gun violence, and then what concerns you most about climate change separate?
So the thing that concerns me most about gun violence is that even with them having this law that you have to be registered and have a gun and everything, it still doesn't make people feel safe. And I've even had did like a report about it and everything, where it's just like now in this generation, like kids can't even go to the fair or anything because it's kids with guns, not just even adults now. It's kids with guns. And so
Yes.
most people are really dying by just guns every day at such a young age. They're barely living a life. So
Yep.
I feel like that's such a big issue that nobody actually really thinks about. How many people are dying from gun violence a day?
Yeah. That's crazy. And you're right. And it's like the kids, how the kids are getting them. Like it's just it's insane. And I know that like there have been situations where the parents are held accountable when, their child gets their gun or whatever. I don't know what the law is as far as like, do they get in trouble if it's registered to them only, or if do they get in trouble if they get it no matter what if they're under a certain age? Like, who knows what they consider or what they put into the data of kids having
Yeah.
guns and harming people with them. So I
And
agree with
also,
you. Like the kid
also
kids,
my thing is how like the kids are able to buy them at the same time. Like I don't understand that as well. Like not even if the kid, like the parents are registered and they're getting them from them. Some of them are buying them off a line, which is really scary to think about. Like you can just go online, just buy a gun, and not even need anything for it.
yeah, that's insane. It's I don't know. That's like one of the biggest things for me is gun violence and especially with kids because I have kids and they are at school every day and my oldest, she's a senior. She's going to be a senior next year, so she's almost out, but my youngest is go his he's starting his freshman year and that, it's just like it's scary to me, especially living where we live where people are just like guns are so normalized here and I don't disagree with like being able to have a gun. I don't mind that. It's not that it's people who are responsible with guns only should have guns. And parents should be held accountable a lot more. I think it like I said, I don't know what the actual law is, but I feel like if your kid is under 18 and they're getting guns, like regardless of you should be in trouble for that because you should be knowing what your kid's doing.
And
I
then the
mean,
fear too. Like me, I'm in school for elementary education.
yes.
And so
Yes.
during the week, Monday through Friday, I'm a substitute teacher. And then so I
Yes.
have
Oh
to
my
sit here and
gosh.
think about like, what if someone
It's
comes
so
in and like
exactly.
anything can happen, and it's like so many of them are happening in schools today, which is sad.
Yeah, and then they want to their solution is to have teachers have they're you're the ones that are responsible for keeping these kids safe and you're getting no legislation that helps you except for they're going to put some cops in the schools. We've seen school shootings happen before and they don't do anything. They stand outside because they're scared. Like they don't it's just it doesn't make sense. They do nothing. They do nothing after shootings happen. Nothing happens. It's wild. And I can imagine being a teacher. I've thought about that so many times. I've thought about being a teacher before, but honestly, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I'm I'm that scared of it. So I applaud you for being, I mean, it's a brave thing to do
Yeah.
nowadays is to become a teacher. Truly. Right. Well, okay, what about climate change? What worries you the most about climate change?
I would say climate change really goes hand in hand with like environmental change. So I think it would really what just worries me the most is just about polluting the air that
Mhm.
we breathe. Like we're breathing all of these bad air that we're not supposed to breathe, and it's not healthy for our bodies. Most stuff isn't. Not only that,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't think that you go outside and you're polluting your body because of all the airs that you're getting that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah. I know. It's really bad. I really get scared about weather. I've always been so scared of tornadoes, storms. When I was younger, I was the kid at school that was like crying for their parents when it was like storming outside or when you had to do the tornado drills. Oh my gosh. So that's what scares me is the way the weather is so not just unpredictable, but like it's just more intense, I feel like. There's more tornadoes, there's just the weather just seems to be crazier and
Mhm.
crazier and then
Also, then
hotter.
the damage it does. You would never think that it does the damage. But like I've heard like stories with my mom, like we lived in like Jackson, Tennessee, and when she was younger and they had storms, like trees would be in the street or the roads, like nobody could drive on them, houses would be like teared down. So it's just crazy that like this climate change can cause so much effect on someone's life and out
Yes.
of nowhere.
Yeah. Your whole life gone. I mean, it was just happening last week. There were tornadoes here, and I just I don't know. It's so scary to me. And then there's cuts to the national or whatever, the government part of the weather has been slashed and gutted, and it seems like weather's getting less predictable, or they're not putting as much money into technology that makes it more predictable. So, and for example, here in our area, we're more prone to nighttime weather events, like tornadoes and stuff are more likely to come at nighttime. So, like not first of all, not knowing when it's coming, or then you can't see anything on top of that. It's just that is so scary to me. Um, but yeah, anyways, it seems like a hopeless situation, the whole climate change thing, because individually we can't do anything about it really. I mean, we can do some things, but the reality is individually we're not going to make that much of a change
Yeah.
without the bigger picture of it, the policy and the government doing their part. So, and we have seen obviously they don't do that. So it's just kind of it's stressful. Okay. Last question. When it comes to gun violence, if you could get any law passed that would make the general public safer. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. If you could get any law passed that would make the general public safer in regards to gun violence or climate change, what would it be?
I would say being able to really just put gun violence down. So I would probably think that, the law is what, you have to be 21 to be registered to have a gun,
I think
right?
so. I think it
Yeah.
might be even younger some places. It might be
Yeah.
18 some
In
places.
different states. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe they need to go up on the age difference with that. And then I think with that, it should come with different policies, especially when having children in your house.
Yes. That's a good idea.
Because
That's
like
a
me,
really good idea.
my parents had 7 kids.
Yeah.
My dad my dad keeps 5 in the house.
Yeah.
But, growing up, he never made it aware. He would never let us know where it was at, and he
Right.
always kept it hidden. But, just knowing if we saw it one day, we would know where that's at. Hey, and
Right.
then kids talk a lot. So
Yeah.
if you talk and say, "Hey, well, my dad has a gun at home," well, then they're gonna try to come to your house, and then they're gonna be trying to play with it or find it. And
Yes. It's true.
chaos.
That's what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
that happened to me when I was a kid. I found I grew up with my aunt, and I found her gun in her closet. I was probably like 15 or 16 at the time. And I'm like casually get it out, and I had a friend over, so I'm like trying to be cool, and like that is insane to me. Like thinking about that now as an adult, like the fact that, and it was not locked up at all. It was just some, I don't know, I was going through my aunt's stuff. She wasn't home. And it blows my mind. I cannot even imagine like my kids being in the presence of a gun at all. Like let alone, I mean, my husband has like a shotgun and a BB gun and stuff, but it's in a safe. I don't even think they even know we have it, but they're in a locked safe in our garage. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it happens. Kids, if you think about it, especially boys, you're
Yeah.
they're so into like fighting and like cops and robbers, and then they get into the like video games and stuff. So like they already know about guns and think that they're cool. So yeah, I think incorporating like some kind of portion of, if you are a gun owner and have kids in the house, like this is what you have to have this type of um, say for this type of whatever it may be. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Okay, well, I'm done with my stuff, so you can take it away.
Okay, so I did mine over gender identity, race and ethnicity, and sexual identity. And I did it for these three because I really felt like these three come together to really just shape how people see how someone is seen in the world. And then also like evidence, I have gay family members. So I've had family members who change and then they want to be non-binary, and then they have to deal with these struggles of people asking them what's their pronouns or this and that, or oh, you're not this, you're a girl. Like, so I felt like this was really just a topic that really just stood out to me about social problems. So I felt like they really go hand in hand with each other. And so for mine, I just did basically I just did examples of what each one was. So for gender identity, I was basically just saying how it's just the internal sense of a male or female, or they either want to be both or neither, and or somewhere along that spectrum. And then it's all about how they feel inside and not necessarily what they are outside. And so for example, I was like, my cousin who chooses to be non-binary. And so for race and ethnicity, um, I did it because race, most people tend to think that they're the same thing. So most people, like, for example, a black lady, she might say, like, on her application, she might say she's black. But then when it comes to ethnicity, she's going to say she's Jamaican or Nigerian or something like that. So I feel like that's also another thing that is not really seen by the socials, and it's actually like becoming a problem because they're not understanding the difference between like a race and the cultural backgrounds of it all. And then for sexual identity, I just said a person who's just like emotionally or romantically or physically just attracted to a different type of identities, such as like somebody being gay or bisexual or pansexual or asexual. And I said they all really just relate into one because you can think about it as like a black lesbian, she's going to have more problems to face rather than a white lesbian or a black heterosexual man. And so I said that basically with our society that we have today, because not only do they not mostly normalize like this, since it's like starting to become something new, they often treat these identities as something to be discrimination or just personal experiences and racist about it. So I said that really all of it is really deep connected within it all to contribute to this person overall identity, which is something they want to be themselves. Because all of these three they combine together. One of them you be like, hey, I'm black, but then hey, I'm black and I'm gay. So I felt like this one they really just all came together for me, and I felt like I didn't really need to look this up because I've had family members who really lived this
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And then, so I have a few questions, and so for my questions, I was like, let me see. One of them was, are there any times when one part of your identity tends to stand out more than others?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I guess I could say that as a mom, that, it is part of my identity to be a mom. And for a really long time, I mean, my kids are, like I said, they're they're teenagers now, but when they're small, like that is like I mean, it felt like that was my identity only. Like I was just a mom. Like that was my day to day. That's all I did was take care of my kids. Um, and I work too. I've always worked full time, so I anyways, yeah. So for a really long time when my kids are small, I just that's all I felt like. But as they got older and like more independent, I was able to kind of shift that. And now, especially, I can kind of be more of like myself, who I was before I became a mom. Like, I like to do a lot of art and really creative and um I just have a lot of interests that I didn't really get to focus on
Yeah.
until, when they got older. So yeah, I would say that that part of me, like the mom part of me, for a long time was pretty much my identity. But yeah, it's almost like when you get to this point, you kind of start, you have your old parts of you, but then you get to kind of find new parts of your identity, I guess. So that's been definitely something that I've had happen over the past, years that my kids have gotten older. But yeah.
And I feel like that's also can, like, your identity. And then so like you growing up like telling people, oh yeah, I'm a mom, they automatically put you in that category with the moms, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, oh, like she can't do this, she has children, she can't do that, she has children. Yes. So I get that frustration. My niece,
Yeah.
my sisters, they're like, oh, I want to go out. I can't do this, that, because I have kids. I'm like, well, you're still in your 20s. Like, you can go out. Like,
Yeah. Right. I know. It is weird. It's weird.
and then another one I have was um about your experiences. So, any share it? Can you share any like experiences that you've had to better help you understand yourself within life as you've like grown up? And like right now with like the character and how this new generation is and finding themselves within like the gender identities and stuff.
Mhm. Um, I wouldn't say that much has changed as far as like my gender identity goes. Um, but I definitely, had a lot of like childhood trauma. So, I do feel like things that I went through as a kid shaped very much who I am today in terms of like issues that I have and I've had to do, I've had to go to therapy and stuff like that. But I think that the going through things at such a young age, you kind of get through your teenage years and you block some of that stuff out, and then through your 20s, you're still kind of blocking that out. When you have kids, it all comes back
Hmm.
around, because you're feeling things that you're feeling those things again through your kids in a way. So Um, I think having kids definitely changed me inside too, because it prompted me to go, why do I feel like this? And to get to a place to where I could like cope with things that I'd never coped with as a child. And that has been very, very much a change within me. To think about where I was before and then after, like I've gotten so much further in my life than I feel like I would have if I didn't do that work on that trauma for sure. Also, it's telling me we have 6 minutes left to record for some reason. So
Oh,
just let you know.
okay.
I cut us off. I don't know why that is, but it's telling me I have to upgrade if we want to go past 6 minutes.
And then, let's see. What other question do I want to ask? Um, what changes would you like to see in how society treats people with similar identities?
So you mean do you mean in reference to like other identities, like various gender identities, or like the spectrum of it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel very strongly about that becoming normalized. Um, I'm not somebody that grew up around a lot of gay people or trans people or anything like that. My sister, my little sister, she came out as gay when she was in 8th grade. And that was kind of like the first time I'd ever known anybody personally. And so from a very young age, I've been very vocal about people accepting her as how she is. And it really put this like sense of justice and like protection toward that whole community. And I I think it's getting better, but I don't know. I see things kind of slipping back with the different at atmosphere in terms of like how our country is. But
Mhm.
personally, I have always been committed to supporting that community in any way that I can, and spreading positive messages about that and informative things because a lot of people are scared of things that they don't know. But yeah, I hope to see that improve quickly. I'm tired of seeing people in a position where, they're getting treated and not how they're supposed to. And that goes for anybody, regard whether they're LGBTQ or not, like everything. I think that it's holding us back from progressing as a society to continue to hate people for any reason. Like there's nobody should hate anybody for any reason. Like there's no it's just bad. It's just bad energy and it needs to go away. All of it. I know that's easy to say, but it's just frustrating at this point. Like it's 2026. Like,
I would agree. I agree that it's getting better, especially with them having like a Pride Month and everything, and they have like parades and stuff like that.
yeah,
I think most of the time with people who are still having problems with it, it's people who like are old fashioned. So they were
yeah,
because it wasn't really there back in their days. So they were raised to not like these people and then they
yeah.
just grew up not liking these people, so then they just lead it on.
Yeah. And that's a really strong thing, I think, like being indoctrined when you're young, to grow up and still feel that way is normal until you can be exposed to those different types of people. And then it's like, at that point, there should be no excuse. Like, we see it on TV, we see it online. Like, you should be able to inform yourself on stuff that you have questions about. And it's that simple. Like, I just don't think people want to try. Like,
Yeah.
there's like a blockage there that they don't want to, it's like an uncomfortable thing. And people don't like to do uncomfortable things, even though that's where the
Yeah.
most growth comes from. But
But yeah, that's all I have.
perfect. Well, we have 1 minute, so perfect timing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed our conversation. I'm really glad that you picked the topics that you did because I was going to pick something similar, but I thought I would talk about something that I didn't know as much about, I guess.
You as well, because I was gonna pick those, but then I was like, maybe I should go something more back up when we first started and
Yeah.
started the
No, yeah.
semester.
I think it worked out great because we got to talk
Yeah.
about different things. But all right, well, I hope you have a good rest of the week and a good weekend
You as
and
well.
a good summer.